So students, in this session we will start with chemical reaction. So in the previous class we have already studied about physical change and chemical change. So we all know that physical change is almost temporary. So what do you all mean by temporary? We all know that from initial stage to the second stage, so from one stage to the another stage, a substance changes, it can be changed back to the initial state. For example, we take like water is turned to ice on freezing. So when we freeze the water, it turns to ice, and again it can be turned to water on bringing to normal temperature. So you can see that physical change is almost reversible and temporary. But what do you think about chemical change? Chemical change is permanent change. So what do you understand by permanent change? Permanent change is a stage when one substance forms to another it becomes a new substance, hence cannot be changed. So in everyday life we can see that chemical change occurs in everyday life. That is, daily we can see that there are washing of clothes. So that is a chemical change. And cooking, you can see that raw material used for cooking our vegetables and many other stuffs that we are putting in and making into a particular recipe. That recipe cannot be taken back or made into a raw vegetable or any other forms. So in the same way, chemical change is a permanent change which cannot be changed to different forms again once it has been formed into a new form. So we can see now that we will start with what is a chemical reaction. So a chemical reaction is a process where one substance changes to a new substance and also has very new or new properties is defined as chemical reaction. So we have already seen that what is a physical change? Physical change is temporary and chemical change is irreversible. That is, it's a permanent change. So when we see that a chemical change can be related to a chemical reaction, a reaction is also called as a process where one substance changes into another substance. That is, it forms a new substance. This is the important thing, that is new substance, and it also has a very new or different properties with respect to the first substance. That is known as the chemical reaction. Let us take again a day-to-day life example, daily life examples such as rusting of iron, formation of curd. So when we take rusting of iron, you can see that a very new iron, that is a new iron is exposed to air and it consists of moisture and leave it for some time or few days in the moisture with respect to the oxygen or the air, in presence of air, you can see that a rust was formed. This rust once formed, it cannot be changed back to the normal iron that we have already seen. So that is a chemical reaction. So next we can see that what is the formation of curd. You can see that from milk we prepare curd. So milk can be made into curd. Can curd be made into milk? It is a thing that is impossible. It is highly impossible. And we can understand with simple experiment by saying that by tasting the milk and the curd, you can see a difference of taste. So the curd tastes sour. So why does it taste sour? Because there is a chemical reaction that has happened while the milk turns to curd. So next we can see that we will see simple reaction, zinc plus copper sulfate gives rise to zinc sulfate plus copper. So here we can see that while to know a chemical reaction, we need to know that there are two different types of mentioning the reaction. That is, one is the reactant so I'll write it a little bit small for your better understanding. So here you can see that we can divide it by taking it as LHS to your left hand side of the arrow, and to your right hand side of the arrow you can write it as RHS. So this is most important thing for any reaction to happen. That is, these are known as reactants, and this on the RHS side is known as the products. So now your question will be like, why these are called as the reactants? So why these are called as the reactants are, one element reacts with one or more elements, there is a reaction process, and thus the products or the elements involved in this process is known as reactants. So you can see that the elements involved in the process of reaction, chemical reaction, which reacts with one another, whereas zinc plus copper sulfate together reacts, there is some reaction that is going to happen that will give rise to a new substance or a new product. So a new substance that is formed with new different properties is known as the products. So you can see that. So products are the new substances formed from the reactants. So most important thing to remember, the left hand side of the elements that is getting or they are reacting is known as the reactants, and the products that is formed or the new substances that is formed on the reaction is known as the products. So this is most important thing to understand what a chemical reaction or further to understand what a chemical equation is. So same way we will have another example. Mg plus O2 gives rise to MgO. So you can see that this is not balanced equation. So we'll have 2Mg plus O2 gives rise to 2MgO. So here you can see that the balancing of equations will be taken in the next sessions. So right now you can see that this is known as the reactant side, that is LHS, and here it is known as the products. So you can see that the two elements, these are the symbols. And it is known as the formulae. So most important thing is here these are the symbols and this is the formulae. So chemical reaction in our daily life. So chemical reaction in our daily life, it doesn't mean that it only takes place in the lab. You might have seen that zinc plus copper sulfate gives rise to zinc sulfate plus copper. That always all these metals or elements can be reacted or experiments can be done only at the lab level. But there are different ways where we can understand that chemical reaction does happen in our daily life. So let us see the first one in the lab. So the same example we will take Zn plus CuSO4 gives rise to ZnSO4 plus Cu. Or you can see that sodium plus HCl, that is sodium is a metal, HCl is hydrochloric acid, it's an acid, gives rise to NaCl plus H2. So these are some of the examples of the reactions or the experiments that can be done in the lab scale. Next we will see that so reaction that takes place every day, means every day we can see reactions we are seeing in our life, that is rusting of iron, burning of fuel, etc. So burning of fuel or burning of paper, you can see that when you burn the paper, finally there is an ash left out and this ash cannot be turned back to the paper. So this is also a chemical reaction that can be seen in our daily life. So third one is in our human body. It is a continuous chemical reaction in our human body. In human body, it's a continuous chemical reaction. So in human body we can see it as a continuous chemical reaction. Say example is digestion. So detail we will learn in the biology chapter, life processes. But right now we should understand that digestion from the food intake, from when it reaches to the tongue, there is a saliva. Saliva consists of some enzymes. These enzymes will break down the food and it will take to the stomach. There are some acidic medium and some enzymes that are involved in the further process. These are all involved in the chemical reactions. So this is a chemical reaction. Even we can say that respiration is also a chemical reaction. Why respiration is called as a chemical reaction? Because we respire. When we respire, we take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. So these are two different reactants or products, but still this happens in our respiratory system or in our whole body. So these are all the examples of chemical reactions in our daily life. So let us understand the characteristics of chemical reaction. So first characteristics, we know that whenever there is a chemical reaction, so we all will be wondering how we can understand that there is a reaction going on. So there are certain things that we should understand that. That is what we are going to understand now, that what a chemical reaction does and how we will understand it. The first one is evolution of gas. So this evolution of gas, we can see that in factories, we can see a lot of smoke is released out. There is a lot of smoke released. The smoke we can see. So this can be a chemical reaction. The chemical reaction process that is ongoing and the smoke that is released is a gas. So whenever you see that there is a gas or you understand the presence of a gas, there is a chemical reaction. Then second one is change in color. So any reaction we can see that there is a change in color, we can understand that there is a chemical reaction going on. For example, we can see that, so everyday life we make tea or coffee. So we boil tea leaves in the water, wherein you can see that colorless liquid, that is water, it changes into brownish in color, and this we can see that there is a change in color and you can see a chemical reaction is going on. So next is change in state. What do you mean by change in state? We know that there are three different states. It is solid, liquid, gas, and you can see that there is a change in state from solid to liquid or liquid to gas or solid to gas. You can see that there is a chemical reaction going on. For example, burning of candle. So what do you understand by burning of candle? When a candle burns, carbon dioxide is released and you can see that the candle wax gets reduced. So this is a reaction wherein states the change in state, and this is also related to the characteristics of chemical reaction. And finally, we have one more characteristics, the formation of a precipitate. Formation of So what do you mean by precipitate? Any insoluble substance in, so you should understand what a precipitate is. any insoluble substance in a solution is said to be a precipitate. So you can see that any reaction wherein you can see example of a beaker filled water we are dropping or we are putting or adding chalk powder to it. Mix it and keep it idle for some time. So we see that we are keeping it idle for some time. You can see that the chalk powder settles down and does not react or does not become a homogeneous solution. So this is a precipitate. You can see that precipitate formation also is a chemical reaction. Precipitate can either be formed at the bottom of the beaker or even it can appear at the top. So this is what is the characteristics of chemical reaction. It's all of it. So next we will see chemical equation. So wherever there is a chemical reaction, we need to understand the chemical reaction. What is chemical reaction? It is a new product or a new substance formed from one substance to another substance, and there is a new property that is formed or developed. And you need a chemical equation that is used. It is a representation of, so chemical equation is a representation of chemical reaction so with the help of symbol and formulae. So we can understand chemical equation as a chemical equation is a representation of chemical reaction with the help of symbol and formula. So let us understand. We will start with word equation. So before writing word equation, we will see that magnesium ribbon burnt in air. So here we need to write the word equation. So magnesium is the metal. What is happening to the magnesium ribbon? We are burning it in the presence of oxygen or air. So air can be written as oxygen on burning or heat. You get that magnesium oxide is formed. So the word equation is written as magnesium plus oxygen. That is magnesium ribbon burned in air. So or you can write magnesium ribbon burnt in air. Magnesium ribbon, when we burn it in air, you can see that there is a black smoke appears and you can see that it forms magnesium oxide. It turns into magnesium oxide. Magnesium plus oxygen upon heating gives rise to magnesium oxide. So now we will write the equation, chemical equation. How will you write the chemical equation? So you need to That's why I say that you need to study the first 40 elements of periodic table along with the symbols, electronic configuration. Then you need to know the atomic number, and also you need to do the valency. So magnesium can be written as Mg plus O2, oxygen, gives rise to 2MgO. So it is not balanced. So we will write it as 2Mg plus O2 gives rise to 2MgO. So the same way we can also write as another example. So word equation. Carbon plus oxygen. So these are the reactants, gives rise to carbon dioxide. It is the product. We will write the chemical equation now. So carbon C plus O2 gives rise to CO2. So what we have learned now is, so let's just have a small recap. We have learned what is a chemical reaction. Chemical reaction is a formation of new substance from a single substance or one or more substances to form new substance, and also it has new different properties. So what are the characteristics of the chemical reactions or equations? So characteristics of chemical reaction are, you can understand that there is a formation of gas, evolution of gas, then you can see the change in color, the change in state, and also you can see that if there is a formation of precipitate, you can see that there is a chemical reaction happening. So you can see that on the left hand side of any equation, that is the reactant, and right hand side it is the product. So you can see that chemical equation, how will you write a chemical equation? It is a presentation, it is a representation of the chemical reaction of a new substance formed in the form of symbols and formulae. So we have seen that word equation we will write just in the form of the elements, that is combining of the elements, and element as it is we will write. Then we will go for the symbols, so that is chemical equation. For that you need to study the symbols. So your homework you need to practice this. Again reminding you to learn first 40 elements from so tomorrow's or next session we will start with what is a balancing equation, and how to balance a given chemical equation. So hope you all have understood the session. So see you next day.